Hello and welcome to the Luke Lunchtime Takeaway. Week by week we're going through Luke's Gospel and we're looking at different incidents and stories of Jesus and his life and his claims and the things that he did. If you go to London and you come out of Embankment Underground station in the evening, maybe you've had a day in the city doing business, or you're about to go to a show or a concert, and you come out of the tube station under Waterloo Bridge, you will see a whole row of people who are homeless and they're bedding down for the night in their cardboard boxes. And you've had your big successful day, you're about to enjoy an expensive show, and as you walk past them you think, can their lives ever be transformed? Can really hopeless people ever really change? Well, Luke tells us a story today which is about one of the most hopeless people of all and how the power of Jesus changes him. So let's explore this story just to see, and it's a rather odd story, rather unusual set of circumstances, to see what the power of Jesus can do. Jesus and his disciples, last time we were looking at them being out on the Sea of Galilee and Jesus still in the storm. Well, now they have sailed across the Sea of Galilee to the region to the east, known as the region of the Gerasenes. Now, this is not a Jewish area. This is a Gentile area. These were pagan people who worshipped other gods. And normally, if you were Jewish, you would say, no, these are people we don't mix with, and these people don't have any hope. They're not our kind of people. But Jesus goes there with his disciples. That itself is significant. Jesus has a heart for the outcast and the people that everybody else rejects. Now, there was a man in their community who seemed beyond help. He lived in the local graveyard. He was possessed by demons and they completely dominated his life. He ran around naked. He was a danger to everybody else. Lots of times the locals had tried to guard him, to lock him up, to put him in chains, but he was so strong he'd broken the power of those chains and run away. And people would just say, he's the scary man you need to keep away from. When Jesus came into town, this man comes running up to Jesus and he calls out to him. And this is what he says. "What have you to do with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? I beg you, do not torment me." Now, of course, that was the voice not of the man, but of the demons that were possessing him. And you see, the man says, "I beg you, do not torment me," because Satan knows that Jesus has divine authority and that Satan and his demons are not in any way a match for Jesus. They are fallen spirits that have rebelled against God. Jesus is the eternal Son of God. There is no sense in which they can match each other on equal terms. So Jesus goes up to the man and he says, "What is your name?" And the demon says, "Our name is Legion, for we are many." And these demons are terrified of being sent back to the abyss, back to hell. So they say to Jesus, "Allow us to go into this herd of pigs." Now, there was a herd of pigs there, very nearby where this event was happening. And they pleaded to be sent into the herd of pigs to possess them. If they must leave this man, that's where they'd like to go. And Jesus allows them to. And they left the man, they entered these pigs. And the demons make the pigs rush down the hill headlong into the sea, and they are drowned. Now, on every count, you can see how this miracle, this deliverance, has changed everything. For the man, immediately, he is free from the demons, and he realizes that he's naked, and he goes and gets some clothes, and he comes back and he sits at the feet of Jesus to listen to everything that he says. And Luke says he is clothed and in his right mind. That's a very powerful statement, isn't it? It's also obvious that there were demons in him. This was not a mental illness. This was demon possession, because the demons have gone into the pigs, and the pigs have careered into the lake and drowned themselves. And presumably the farmer was able to fish them out afterwards and sell the meat and not make a loss. Most of all, it is obvious that Jesus has a power that nobody has ever encountered before in that area. They have been worshipping their pagan gods. They've probably also been afraid of evil spirits in their culture. And suddenly they have encountered someone who is much bigger, much more powerful than anything they have encountered before. And they are afraid. And actually they plead with Jesus to leave the area. But the man who's been set free, he doesn't. He says, "Can I come with you? I think you're the most wonderful person ever, and I want to follow you." And Jesus says to him, "Return to your home and declare how much God has done for you." Now, what does this story say to us today? Well, it tells us that the powers of darkness are real. We must not take them for granted. They're not something to be joked about. And we can also say that those powers of darkness are not a threat to Jesus. Jesus can overcome the deepest powers of darkness. He has done by his death. It's also true to say that there's no human problem so big that Jesus, by his power, he can't overcome it. No, he has the power to change everything. He really can transform our lives. If you've been through a trauma and you still live with the mental scars of that trauma and it's shredded your nerves, and you wonder how you'll ever escape from the memories of that time, Jesus can begin that process with you. He can give you the power to change, to confront your fears, to understand yourself, to explore the past, maybe to forgive the people who did that to you, and begin the process of acceptance and moving on. If you've been enslaved by an addiction to drugs or to alcohol or something else, Jesus can give you the power to break that addiction and to change if you will come and surrender your life to him. If you are racked with guilt because of something you've done and you blame yourself all the time, Jesus, by his death, has provided an atonement to take away the guilt of our sin and put it on him at the cross, and to give us new life so that we can move on from our past and have a new beginning. Overall, the Gospel of Luke is a story where the rich, the powerful, and the religiously respectable, they are all sent away empty, but the poor, the oppressed, the outcast, the foreigner, they are the ones that Jesus welcomes, and they are the ones whose power he can change. And if that can be true for them, it can be true for me, and it can be true for you as well. If you'd like to know more about that, if you'd like to explore the Christian faith for yourself, we run courses for people just like you, and we'd love to do that online or in person. Just drop an email to the email that's on the screen now, and we'll be happy to get in contact with you. And thank you for joining me. I'll see you again next week.